and he was able to escape these gunshots. And it's really just, it's emotional sound. Take a listen.
And you were shot today.
Shot at. Luckily, yeah, the windshield, this is just shrapnel from the windshield that was as he shot at our car as we were trying to drive away.
And that's your car, the purple one?
Yeah, the maroon Flex. Yeah. I
got a picture of it, or a little video of it. Tell me what was going through your head as that kind of was transpiring.
Honestly, get my wife away and find my son.
So your son wasn't with you. Do you know where he was?
Sorry, that makes me a little more. He was in another vehicle. We were on the phone with him. He was ducked down in another vehicle trying to just lay low.
And you ended up getting in contact with him, and he was okay.
we were actually on the phone with him when the shooter came out the door, and then that's when I just put pedal to the metal to try to get out, and that's when he started shooting at our vehicle, and that's what you saw there. And
tell me what led up, like what did you see leading up to your windshield kind of exploding or the bullet coming through?
Church had started at 10 o'clock. We had our opening congregational hymn. We were getting ready to take the sacrament, and we heard just a loud bang. And then we saw that the front wall, so the front part of the chapel, the wall was cracked. And so we at first figured somebody accidentally had done something. So we started rushing out to go help. And then as soon as I saw the American flags on the truck, and that it was on purpose, and somebody yelled that it was on purpose, I started trying to get people out of the area and away, to disperse away.
And I guess how soon, from you getting injured, did you realize that you were getting shot at? Like, did all that happen first and then you got shot?
No. So, yeah, all of that happened first. Okay. And then I was kind of trying to gather people, trying to find my wife. I ended up finding my wife, and then we went to our vehicle. We called our son, found out he was in another car. I was trying to go to get to that car so that I could get him in the vehicle. There were some elderly ladies and some sisters in our ward that are in our congregation that we got brought into our vehicle so that because they can't run very fast, and so we wanted to make sure that they were safe. As soon as I saw the door open with the shooter and with his rifle, that's when I tried to drive away, and that's when he shot at us. And so there was multiple shots, probably a few dozen before that even happened. I didn't see anybody else get shot. I'm aware, from what I know, there are people that were shot, and some that, at least one that I know of that was killed.
And kind of in the aftermath, in this point you're at right now, what's going through your head right now?
Just confusion. You want to make sense of these things. You never will. It's a mental illness, I'm assuming. It really can't be anything else. So there's really not a way for us to, over the next few days, people are going to say, oh, it's because of this and because of that and because of this. And the reality is, I'm sure it was just some individual who was sick in the head. None of us recognized this guy. He came in with camel pants and an assault rifle, and confusion and just sad. And relief that my family's okay, but sad for those that might not be.
I mean, and you did see a lot of people, or we saw a lot of people exiting. So a lot of you guys did, were able to make it out. What do you say to the group effort to get everyone out safely?
I'd say the police came very quickly, faster than I would have expected, which is great. So I'm very grateful for their presence, their ability to come and help. I think, I'm sure in the future we're going to start figuring out protocol in churches what to do with this kind of thing. And even though we really shouldn't have to, that should not be something that you have to be afraid of when you go to worship.
Yeah, and I guess that's my last question that I can think of right now is, like you said, churches around, this has happened around the country several times, and, churches, in a group, it has happened to churches, but schools, businesses. There was a stabbing in Walmart in Traverse City. What do you kind of say to all of that?
I don't know.
Are you folks members of the Jehovah's Witness Church at all?
I don't know. I think I have to kind of wrap my head around this a little bit.
Now we're back here live, and you're watching Fox Local. We have been streaming all day long with the latest on what happened at the Church of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township with this mass shooting. And we are learning more about the shooter, who police say is Thomas Jacob Sanford. We know that Fox News has actually confirmed some of this information, which is really interesting. It said he was in the Marine Corps from 2004 to 2008, including deployments to Iraq and part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He rose to the rank of sergeant during Operation Iraqi Freedom, worked as an automotive mechanic and vehicle recovery operator. His last assignment with the 2nd Marine Logistics Group in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. He earned several awards during his 4 years of service, and that is the Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, the Iraq Campaign Medal, and the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal. So that's really more about him. Also, we're learning, we do know this. This was interesting. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints also put out some information saying this was a tragic act of violence occurred at the chapel there in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan during Sunday worship, but also said there was no apparent connection between the church shooter and the LDS congregation. So that's what they're saying at this point. Of course, we do know that police said that Thomas Sanford used his vehicle, his truck, and there he is right there, his service picture, but that he used his vehicle as a weapon and crashed into that church during worship today around 10:30 this morning. We know the witnesses heard a loud bang. They didn't know what it was at first, but then this individual opened fire. Police arrived just minutes later. This is a very small town, so it didn't take long. I believe the Township Police Department is just a mile or two away. Police come in. They are able to take out the shooter, but unfortunately others were killed in the process by the shooter. And unfortunately, we know that 2 were dead from that. 1 is in critical condition at this point. The rest are unstable, so a total of 10. Let me go through those numbers again. We know that 3 people are dead, including the shooter. 1 is unstable, the rest 1 is in critical, the rest unstable. That's our latest information at this point in terms of that. But in terms of a motive, that is still unclear. We know that the Grand Blanc Township, right there in the hall, they're going to be holding a press conference with all law enforcement officials. That starts at 8 o'clock. Fox 2 will be there. They gave one earlier around 5. It did not give that much information, just some basics, which is understandable because we know the search warrants have been signed by the Genesee County prosecutor and that they have been able to connect some dots. We don't have a lot of information at this point, but they have been able to enter the shooter's home at this point. Of course, they're looking for anything on the computer, any notes that were left behind, any signs of perhaps what may be even potentially still to come. We don't know what was in the mind of this individual who could go to such great lengths to be able to then set this fire to this church, and that looked more like out of a scene out of a movie, or we've heard that a law enforcement official earlier say that it looked like something out of 9/11, and we're looking at the drone shots right now. I mean, this is a massive fire. What went into the mindset of this individual? Was it connected to his time when he served for Iraqi freedom? Was it mental illness? Was it, something else that was connected that motivated this sort of attack that had really 3 violent levels to it? So police are trying to connect those dots and hopefully bring us the latest information at that 8 p.m. press conference. But in the meantime, you have a small town and you had hundreds of people at this church service. We know that the church said there's no connection to this individual for them, but there had to be some reason. Will we ever find out? That's yet to be determined. But witnesses were able to escape. They talked about those moments. You just heard from the individual with shrapnel there on his hand. He was hit, but certainly not badly, so that was good and able to get his children, his wife out of there. And we know that people, we heard from Rube, there are 50 to 60 people outside that charred remains of the church and waiting to find out perhaps that their loved one is still inside. We know that There are missing people still. Some believe that they might not have been able to escape in time because that fire happened very quickly after the shooting, and then it was just mass chaos. And that fire erupted. Some believe not maybe just that there might have been more to it. There might be some explosives involved, but yet we know that investigators have to determine and confirm that, and that might take some time. This is just a frightening, horrendous deal. We've had a lot of public officials come out and speak to this, even the President of the United States calling this horrendous. So we know we've heard from the governor, and just hearts going out to everybody that's involved. We also heard from Hillary Golston. She was outside of Genesis Hospital talking about really the different hospitals in the area, Hurley being there, and that's a level 1 trauma, likely taking the person with critical, maybe even seeing if some of the other victims before they were pronounced dead, if they were able to be saved at that point. We know that all hospitals are normally alerted when you have such a mass violent event like this to be able to take as many victims, because it's unclear how many may be coming at this point. But what we do know is this was just a terrible event. The whole community is reeling. This has made national, international headlines today on this Sunday. We've heard, sadly, about church shootings before. That's not new, unfortunately. But to this magnitude, this is quite jolting for many people. And the big reason, the mystery, why? We don't know. And that's what investigators will be trying to figure out in the coming days. But right now, though, we are going to check in there. Ruben is live right near the church. We're going to try to, there he is. Ruth, you've been there trying to gather some more information. Have you learned anything else about any potential victims still trapped inside?
We are still waiting on word for that right now. I can tell you that for a little while there, they weren't allowing anybody back there except for fire personnel. This is really the last point at which we can see anything. We're 0.2 miles away from the actual church. When I first got here a couple of hours ago, you could clearly see the facade of the church that was still remaining and the rest that was charred out. Now, where you see these cars backing up, you see this white car backing up, it's family members that are actually dropping off members of the church across the street, and they're all waiting behind the road closed sign, perhaps for some word. Perhaps they're waiting to do a vigil. I asked if there was a vigil. They said not that they know of. So, Taryn, at this point, at this scene right now, the answer to your question is we do not know. However, a source very close to the investigation, who's actually on an ancillary level part of the investigation, says at this point they have probable cause to believe that there are perhaps remains inside of the church. And that was the word probable used when I asked if they believe there are people who were trapped and didn't make it out of that church. And so clearly for the people who attend this church, who perhaps many of them could have escaped and are here now, this is a very traumatic moment to watch as some church members are being let in, others are being told to wait.
Yeah, this is, it's really sad to think that you said this happened at 10:30 in the morning when about 9-10 hours later, people are still gathered waiting for information. Where is their loved one? You know, what could have happened? What's the reasoning behind this? I think it'll be interesting. A lot of people waiting to hear maybe more information from the shooter's wife, family members, anybody who can shed some light on this, because I think that's the hardest part, thinking about what would make somebody do something like this at such a massive level. And you were explaining that this was just not much is left of the church.
No, it is, we talked about this on the phone just a few moments ago. When you see that church, and if you could, Marcus, I'm going to try to do this. It's just a picture that I took earlier that I think is very telling, that when I first got here, and I just want to show you this picture, Taryn, and we can kind of zoom in on it. I'm going to go to sideways view here, and I just want you to look at this picture because it's really quite telling. If you could zoom in on that. That is what remains of the church. You can see the facade that I was telling you about earlier, Taryn. This again, when the sun was here, the sun was out rather. I'm being told to move my camera by Marcus, the photographer. Is that good, Marcus? Can you get a shot of it now? Yep. So that's the facade that I saw when I first got here. That's the exact place where I'm standing right now that you can see behind me that's dark. but it is this shot that I think is so telling. You see at the front of the church, or perhaps the side of the church, it looks like it's still standing, but then you look right behind it, and it's very clear that it's completely charred out. I think you mentioned Steve Dolan, formerly of DPD, said something like it looked like a scene out of 9/11. When you looked at the close-up structure of what was left standing, hardly standing, it was the charred remains of the building. And sadly, that's what I saw when I first got here. And the scene that so many of these, by the way, family members, Marcus, I don't know, we don't want to put a light on them, but you can see them over there if you can. They're all waiting and wondering what is the latest with the investigation. It's the questions that you asked at 8 o'clock tonight we hope to have answered, which is, hey, do we know right now whether there were people who are still inside? That's the question that so many people still have. And these are many of the people I talked to are church members who are waiting for that answer right now.
Well, you know, Ruth, you showed a picture of the building or what was left of it. And this is a massive, you can tell from the drone shots that we have, this is a massive church. It's very large. Hundreds of people were inside.
Yeah.
Now at this point, with not much there, have you seen people, fire investigators or people trying to sift through and see what's there? Or is it blocked? Or, I mean, at this point, have they already gathered their information and we're going to hear maybe more at 8 o'clock? I know you don't know for sure, but what have you seen in terms of...
Let me show you that, Taryn. Marcus, you can stay where you're at. I'm going to walk over there and show her how far I was when I took that picture. I was right up to here. And I'm going to kind of point past this road closed sign where all of those police cars are over there, where some of these cars are being allowed in. 0.2 miles from here, there's a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall sharing a parking lot with the actual church. On that church right now, it's lit up. It's a crime scene. It's an investigative crime scene. So there's one light sitting on that thing. But from our vantage point, I can't get closer than there. They've moved us further away so that we're not able to really see what the firefighters may be doing behind us. And perhaps rightfully so, Taryn, because if there is probable cause, as that investigator told me, that there are people who remained inside after that fire, then it's going to be a very difficult scene for anyone to want to see or get be close to. And I think that's why so many of the church members are also being kept at this length as well, because you really can't see from this vantage point what's going on behind us with that light on that charred remain of the church.
And you did mention that there was the fire trucks or the vehicles almost blocking and almost acting as a wall, a protective shield of this church that may be blocking that vantage point, because certainly if there are concerned family members, worried family members, you don't want them to see anything. There's more trouble if there are dealing with at this point. And we do know that they did put out...
You're right.
And I wanted to say really quickly for people who may have some questions.
Sure.
248-705-7352, 705-7352. You can't imagine what those family members are going through. Of course, they're just going to Sunday worship, something they probably do every week, and to have something like this happen, it is, there's no word for it. I mean, it's not just jolting. Like,
no.
I mean, it's something that if it's going to impact people around the world or across the country and make them take a different look and you know, heavy hearts, because imagine people connected to us.
Well, you're so right. In fact, I talked to a national news correspondent who had just gotten here, and he and I had known each other for a little while, and he walked up to me and he said he was actually sitting inside of a Church of Latter-day Saints church a few hours from here, 4 or 5 hours from here, and was sitting in the church when his phone lit up saying that there had been a truck rammed into and a fire at another Church of Latter-day Saints. So the member of the media who's covering this very terrible tragedy with the Church of Latter-day Saints actually was inside of a Church of Latter-day Saints place of worship this morning when the news broke, and he learned he had to get in an SUV and haul it over here to Grand Blanc, Michigan, a place that when anyone woke up this morning, we would know that the eyes of the world would be watching so carefully, and the eyes of the world are watching so carefully. We have media from all over the globe that have now surrounded this area that I'm standing next to. And Taryn, you've been to a few of these tragic scenes in the past, but this is really terribly monumental in the most ominous way because of the way in which this person appeared to have attacked the people in this church. You and I talked about this earlier, but it is one thing to have a church shooting that is terrible enough. It is absolutely awful enough to have a fire happen. Terrible enough. And it is terrible to have anyone ram a vehicle into a place of worship. Bad enough. But when all three happen, how can you expect anyone who's a member of this church to be anything but stunned? And that's what we find around us right now. People were stunned, including, as I think I mentioned to you, a member of, who is an elder member of the church who was wearing a black tie and a white shirt, wearing his Sunday best, perhaps from this morning, now waiting with the entire congregation that is wondering what happened, and they're all on the other side of the street. Out of respect, we're giving them some space, but that's where we're at right now, and that's the scene. I do want to mention, Taryn, it was quite sad. We actually saw a funeral hearse come in about 2.5 hours ago, and about 30 minutes ago leave here with 2 people from the funeral home on the inside. I'm not clear on exactly what is happening inside that church, and we certainly hope in the matter of minutes that investigators will help the people who have family members that attended that church understand what exactly transpired inside. Were there people remaining?
Right. Well, Rube, you know, very true, everything that you said, and it's really heartbreaking to see what people are having to deal with at this point. We're going to let you go right now because we know that law enforcement is about to take that podium any moment now, and we want to be able to be ready for when they speak. And we'll talk to you a little bit later, but thank you for bringing us up to date on what you're seeing. And just to recap right now, though, we know that church attack, that violent church attack happening at 10:25 this morning, 911, that's the first time that the call came through. Police arrived and had discovered that an individual drove a truck through the wall of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. That's located in McClandish Road, and that's right just about short distance from the Flint area. It's in Genesee County. Hundreds of people were inside at the time. Once he went through the wall, he opened fire. We understand that multiple people were hit. Police arrived moments later. They went into a gunfire exchange with the shooter. And unfortunately, in total, 10 people were dead, including the shooter, 2 victims, people that were attending the church, and then also 7 other people were able to survive. 1 is still critical, the rest stable. We're waiting for an update from law enforcement. We know they're going to give us an update at a press conference. Any moment now. We're looking to see if they're going to take that podium. But in the meantime, we do know it has been confirmed that he did serve in Iraqi Operation Iraqi Freedom from 2004 to 2008. This individual, and we did find out he's won several awards for his service. We also know that he had a wife and a son. Neighbors we talked to today said he seemed like a stand-up guy, he's just normal guy. So that makes people wonder what may have caused this, what may have motivated such a massive, violent attack on a church. However, the church has come out and said that there's no connection from this individual to the Church of Latter-day Saints, so we don't know that. But we know the police have entered his home, trying to gather evidence as well to figure out some sort of motivation. Was it to find out, to give a max amount of shock? What sort of message was this individual trying to send? Was it, what caused it? Was it mental health? Was it people?
All right, you're just listening into our Fox 2 teams. They are providing an update, and it looks like we are about to get underway in this shooting there at this LDS church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Let's listen in live.
Names, I will step back up after the news conference and answer those questions. I'd like to introduce Chief William Renee from the Grand Blanc Township Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. As Lieutenant Vetter said, we will take a couple questions upon the conclusion of this press conference. With me here on the stage is Supervisor Scott Bennett, Fire Department Chief of Grand Blanc Township, Jamie Gent, DNR Chief, Jason Haynes, FBI Acting Special Agent in Charge Ruben Coleman, and the ATF James Deere, who is the special agent in charge for this area in Michigan. I have a couple updates for you. There is a couple additional bodies that we've discovered in the church. So that makes our total victim count up to 4 victims. As I said before, there has already been the suspect who is deceased as well. So we have 5 deceased persons from this tragic incident. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident. It's could have been completely avoided. And it's very tragic, and that's not what our community is. I'm confident that we're going to overcome this, as Grand Blanc always overcomes these type of incidents. I'd also like to acknowledge the heroism of not only the first responders, but the people who were inside that church at the time. They were shielding the children who were also present within the church, moving them to safety. Just hundreds of people just practicing their faith. Just extreme courage, brave, and that's the type of community that we are. Law enforcement, again, we were on scene within 30 seconds from that original 911 call. Within 8 minutes, that suspect was neutralized in the back parking lot of the church by a DNR officer and a Grand Blanc Township officer. So where we're at right now, we're working tirelessly. We're working all night on this particular incident. I know that you guys have questions, and it's not only this community, but it's nationwide, all throughout the United States. So we're working hand in hand with our federal partners. So I'd like to introduce FBI Agent Ruben Coleman to you, who he will give you an update on where he's at within the federal investigation. Sir.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Ruben Coleman, and I am the Acting Special Agent in charge of FBI Detroit Field Office, which covers the entire state of Michigan. First, I want to sincerely express our condolences to the victims of this shooting, their families, and this entire community. I would like to also thank Chief Renee, the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, and all of our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, other first responders, and the community members for their immediate actions in this situation. This act of violence has no place in our state or anywhere else in our country. The FBI is committed to continue finding out the facts, circumstances, and motives behind this tragedy. I can confirm at this time that the FBI is now leading the investigation and is investigating this as an act of targeted violence. FBI crisis response teams, such as our evidence response teams, SWAT, Special Agent bomb technicians, victim specialists were deployed to the scene. We also have special agents who are continuing to conduct interviews and intelligence and professional staff personnel providing research and analysis. I would like to thank them for their work on this case. We ask that members of the public share any information that would assist us in this investigation, and we encourage them to please report to the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov. Any piece of information could be crucial. We ask that you keep the victims of this tragedy, their families, and the entire community in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The Michigan State Police continues to respond to several locations throughout the community as we receive additional bomb threats at other locations. Please continue to stay vigilant, and if you see something suspicious, say something. Call the FBI tip line or call 911 to report suspicious activity. This incident is an active investigation. Investigators are tirelessly combing through evidence under difficult circumstances and working to identify each victim as quickly and accurately as possible. The Family Assistance Center will be open from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Monday and Tuesday at the Genesis Conference and Banquet Center at 805 Health Park Boulevard in Grand Blanc. If you are still looking for missing family members related to this incident, you may call 248-705-7352 for assistance. The FAC is available to everyone in the community, victims, family members of victims, and community members seeking support who just want to talk. Trained counselors and victim services will be on site. We do not need volunteer counselors at this time, and we are not accepting donations of goods at this time. Please continue to monitor the Grand Blanc Township Facebook page for the latest updates. Once verified donation centers are made public, we will put those on the Facebook page. Also, the next update will be provided, update time will be provided on that Facebook page. And we'll open up to questions this time.
Chief, has the church been cleared of bodies and victims? And if you could answer at the podium, please.
So as I said, we're working around the clock now. So we're working tirelessly to find additional bodies. So to answer your question, the entire church has not been cleared because it's a total loss due to the fire. So these first responders right now, they're in recovery mode. They're trying to fight through all the debris from the fire. So no, we have not cleared the entire church just yet.
And I have a quick follow-up. Of the victims, the 4 dead, can you say how many were shot or how many died as a result of the fire?
I could say this, 2 have been shot as a result, or have been shot, 2 of the deceased.
Chief, do you know how many people are unaccounted for?
No, I don't know how many people are unaccounted for at this time. We do know that there are some that are unaccounted for.
Can you explain a little bit about how the fire started at the church?
I will leave that up to the ATF Agent Deere.
The question again?
How did the fire start at the church?
For this incident, the fire started basically the suspect. All indications on this investigation are the suspect used an accelerant of some sort, we believe gasoline, and lit the church on fire.
Was it an IED he may have used?
There are, at this point, I'm not going to comment on IEDs. I will confirm that there were some suspected explosive devices that were located. But as far as using them to initiate the blaze, I can't say that. This scene is actively being investigated by ATF. Most people don't know that ATF is the federal arson police, and we have a team from across the country coming in, our national response team. It is a cadre of expert fire investigators that are coming here from across the country to investigate this scene and get to the cause or the origin and cause of this fire.
Lieutenant Butter, we saw that there was possibly a bomb threat at the Meyer on Atherton and Center yesterday. Is that connected to this, and is the home that we saw being searched over there the home of the suspect?
Yeah, that's all still part of the investigation. Sorry, that is still all part of the investigation. We're still working to determine if any of that is related.
Can we speak to the motive? We're hearing speculations that it might have anything to do with the Charlie Kirk assassination in Utah.
That's exactly what it is, a speculation, and we won't come to those types of conclusions for some time.
Do you know if there's any connection between the suspect and the church or its members, any prior connection?
Again, part of the investigation, we're not going to speculate at this time. Right now, we are working tirelessly to recover the victims of this incident and reunite families. Please be patient as we work through that process.
Were the law enforcement officers there close to the scene and how they were able to respond so quickly within just seconds?
Thankfully, yes.
You mentioned there were additional bomb threats. Are there anywhere that the community should be aware of or should be safe from?
The community should remain vigilant, and anytime they see something suspicious, they should report it immediately.
There's at least one other report that a local church was searched by the bomb squad.
We've searched multiple churches this evening for bomb threat protocol, yes.
Is that based on actual threats?
Yes.
Okay.
We received 911 calls about bomb threats or other indications that there was a bomb at a different location. Some of them were churches, and we've responded and cleared those locations.
Did those threats come after the suspect was killed at the church?
Yes.
Was there an officer at the church already?
I think that's part of the investigation. Do you have a comment on it?
Were those LDS churches where the bomb threats were, or were there other denominations?
I can't.
Can I speak to a motive?
Yeah, I can't answer that at this time. But
What else can we say about the suspect? You know, we're not going to talk about motive, yes, but what else can we say? Anything about him at all?
right now, what we'd like to do is talk about the heroism that we saw today. The people who responded in such a valiant way to protect the others, both law enforcement, fire department, EMS. Everybody did an excellent job working together to keep people as safe as they possibly could.
We stopped by Holy Family Catholic Church, and there was a heavy police presence there. Is this at all connected to one of those bomb threats that you're mentioning? Is it potentially connected to the incident today at the LDS Church?
I don't have knowledge of that exact location. Do you have anything? Okay. That's going to be all for questions. I thank you for coming and appreciate the assistance.
Can we get your name again, please, ma'am?
Sure. Yep. I'm Specialist Lieutenant Kim Vetter, Michigan State Police. Vetter.
V is in Baker or V is in Victor?
V is in Victor.
Thank you.
Any of the injuries, any of the people just injured by fire, by burns?
We're still working on that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Still just 8 people in the hospital?
James Deere, D-E-I-R. E is in David, E-I-R.
Okay, any other spelling? It's the only other questions we're taking. No?
All right, very preliminary information, but they did increase that death toll to now 4 people in this Michigan church attack there in Grand Blanc, Michigan, just 50 miles north of Detroit. So